Hey, welcome back to the Surf Trainers podcast series. We're going to talk about breathing today. Interesting. How to use breathing when you're surfing. Before I continue, I'd just like to tell you how I got into breathing myself. And I was in Mozambique some time ago, I think a few years back. I had a beautiful shark encounter there. It wasn't one of those encounters where there's a fin in the distance. There was a tiger shark right by my feet, and I wish I could tell you right now that I responded all nice and calm, and I easily pedaled, got out of the water, or even stayed in the water. But this didn't happen. I freaked out completely. Started punching under my board, not being sure where the shark had gone, and I got super scared, and the fear didn't leave my body for about a year. I went surfing here. There's no sharks here, and I got super. I don't know, man. This fear would just, if I would think about it, the fear would go from my stomach to my chest to my throat, and I would experience the same thing over and over again until I got until I learned about breathing, how to use breathing to my advantage, and immediately the entire thing was gone. And then I realized, wow, this breathing is really strong. And I realized that I could also use it for example, bigger surf, if I would feel uncomfortable being underwater, being caught inside, or even being frustrated, for example, with other surfers, or with just with yourself, not catching any waves or whatever. So I realized, wow, as a coach, I really need to teach this to students, because this is a great way, and everybody can reflect on this on his own, whatever's happening mindset. So I wrote a protocol. It's called the breathing protocol. Really simple, but basically it just names how to breathe while pedaling, when you get to the lineup, when there's waves arriving, and then when you're caught inside, and even there's a small part on while you're surfing. And what's really interesting is that it has mental advantages, like I just spoke about, but also physical. So we're going to dive into that for this podcast. We're not going to necessarily go into, for example, breath holds, something that is really interesting. I've been doing breathing exercises for a long time. We're going to leave that to another podcast. Before we start to talk about how to breathe while surfing, I just want to say I'll throw a link in the description. I posted a video on YouTube about how to breathe while surfing, with some science and some tips, which is good to know. You can check it out. Throw the link in the description. However, breathing while paddling, something super important and something quite simple but often forgotten. What I often see surfers do is not really breathe at all when they're sprint pedaling. So they kind of just stop breathing and go tense all these muscles, which is obviously not something you want to do. Or lung flushing, and lung flushing is breathing really fast in and out through the mouth. Of course, we are working out. However, so you need to breathe. You need to, I wouldn't even say over breathe, because you are working out so much. You just need to fuel yourself of oxygen and get rid of CO2. However, it'll be best to do that through the nose. Nasal breathing. 4 seconds in, and then through the mouth you can breathe out as fast as you can. And then nasal breathe again, 4 seconds in through the nose. Why is this good? There's some science behind this, but especially because lung flushing feels nice, going in and out through the mouth, but basically you're getting rid of a lot of CO2, but you're not necessarily taking in so much oxygen. Through the nose has multiple advantages, but mostly it's just really good for oxygen intake, and it is comfortable for your lungs to take up the oxygen. We are doing exercise, and we are usually not trained to nasal breathing. So when you really feel the urge, like, this nose isn't giving me enough right now, of course, I'd say use all holes. Go through your mouth breathing fast, and then switch to nasal breathing again when you can. And nasal breathing is, you can train this. Your body will get used to that bit of more CO2, and so you will get used to nasal breathing. It'll become easier for you. Good. So, and then one thing while breathing that can really help is to focus on your exhale. Because we know we get used to a lot of surfers, I think, go like this, right? Lung flushing that we just spoke about. So now we went to nasal breathing. In first the belly, then the chest. So we go. And then we breathe out through the mouth. What you want to focus on is breathe out fully. Empty those lungs so that there's enough space to, again, breathe in nicely through the nose. And this is something that is really important while pedaling, because you can just breathe more efficient, but also when you're caught inside. We're going to talk about that later, but remember that one. Exhale fully, yeah? So that you have plenty of space in your lungs. Cool. So now, we get to the lineup. You have just been pedaling, probably. Maybe you've been duck diving waves. So you need to catch your breath. That's totally fine. The thing is, this is a really important moment. We have just been pedaling. We have been breathing heavy. So we are in a very, like, our heart rate is going. We are in a fight, flight, and freeze mindset. Some people, more than others, but we want to get rid of this. We want to remain calm in the lineup so that we can make the right choices when the waves are coming, and we don't go to these panicky choices that this mindset creates. So to do this, first catch your breath, and then we're going to go to double breaths. I'd say go to double breaths for about 3 times. What are double breaths? I call them 50-50s. And basically what you do is you exhale fully. So empty your lungs. And what you're going to do now is you're going to breathe in for 50%, pause, and then breathe in the remaining part. So, let me demonstrate. Exhale. Okay, I don't know if you could hear that through the mic, but basically exhale. Inhale through the nose for 50% and inhale again for 50%. And this is a technique that has been used for a long time by ambulance, by people in psychiatry and all that kind of stuff to calm you down. It'll calm you down. I actually use it before I go to sleep. I do this and it immediately makes me yawn. When I do this in the lineup, I immediately calm down. When you have done this 3 or 4 or 5 times, whatever you prefer, I'd say that in the protocol, so you're in the lineup, you want to make the right choices, you want to stay away from that fight-flight mindset. You did your double breaths, and now you can just relax, okay? So you go to a relaxed breathing pattern through the nose, and preferably, I'd say 4 seconds in, and if you can, even 6 seconds out. And this will really calm you down. And while you're doing this, don't pay attention to any waves for a moment. Don't pay attention to other surfers. Pay attention to the bird that's flying, or pay attention to the sun. Just look around. Relax. Stretch your arms a bit. But don't stay in that heavy, I need to catch waves and this and that, because this podcast is all about when you get into that wrong mindset, when you're not catching any waves for 30 minutes or whatever. You want to stay away from that. So zoom out. Check out the situation objectively. And now we reached a moment where there's a wave coming, right? So now you notice, okay, there's some waves. You're fully calm because you just did your lineup protocol. The waves are coming. So you check out, hey, where do I need to go? And you start pedaling towards the peak or whatever. And here's an important one. And I'd give this one to everybody. This is a great technique that I use myself, and this is basically that I keep on breathing really calm. I don't overthink. I just pedal to the peak, and when the wave reaches my feet, I breathe in. And when you breathe in, this is nice, right? And this is also why in the beginning of the podcast I said physical advantages, because breathing in, having air in your belly and in your chest, it'll create some abdominal pressure, okay? And this is great for core stability. And your core stability is going to be needed while you do your pop-up and while you want to balance. So balancing after the pop-up. Cool. So breathing in is already physically a really good aspect that helps your body being stable enough for the pop-up and balancing. But then also, what I do, so the wave reaches my feet, I breathe in, and breathing in means for me, I'm gonna commit 100% to this wave. The fact that I have air in my lungs, for me, is just means, hey, I'm gonna go. And this is something that I give to all my students. And it really helps. Maybe not the first time, but the thing is, you can simulate this on land. You can be walking on the street going, oh, I'm gonna catch this wave now, But and it'll help. It'll help you committing, because it means you're gonna pedal as hard as you can. Head's gonna go down straight into that wave and catch it. Cool. So breathing in, good for abdominal pressure, good for popping up, and so good for your mindset of commitment. Okay, breathing in means commitment. Let's do it. We're gonna do this now. Perfect. Now, I spoke to a coach. His name is Justin West, and he had a pretty cool thing about breathing while you're surfing. And this would be like, breathing in, while you're catching a wave, and then he didn't mention that bit, but he mentioned as you go down the wave, you breathe out, and then with your bottom turn, you breathe in again. With your top turn, you breathe out again. So I don't want to go dive too deep, because there could be an entire podcast about that, but it's just pretty cool. While you're surfing, if you're at that level where you can actually think about that, try to play with that a bit. Cool. Moving on. Don't want to stick to difficult things for too long. I just want to wind back a bit. So we had paddling while breathing, was nasal breathing, a nice breathing pattern, and breathing, exhaling fully. Then we had reaching the line up, and you want to calm yourself down with the double breaths and a calm breathing pattern, nasal breathing, while you're zooming out of the situation. Then the wave arrives. We're going to pop up with with air in our lungs, which also means commitment and is good for core stability. Cool. So now we have been surfing. Maybe you wiped out, maybe you didn't. Anyways, you're in the water, and maybe you're at a spot where there's a lot of waves breaking on your head. And this is, for many people, a reason for panic. This can also happen while you're paddling out. Big waves hitting your head. You're being held down after a wipeout or whatever. What is really important? Of course, lung in the airs. Lung in the airs. Wow. Air in your lungs. Cool. So, for example, you're surfing, you wipe out. Make sure you have a good breath in. You're going to do this. I'm pretty sure that everybody breathes in unconsciously while when they know they're going to fall into water. But as you come up, you're going to be having to focus again on that full exhalation. Full exhalate and inhale again through the nose, if you can. Fully. Again, fully exhalate. And then exhale, and then fully inhale again. Through the nose, if you can. If you don't have much time, you could come up, breathe in through the nose, nasal breathing, fully exhale, and then go to 2 quick, really fast mouth breaths, and then go to nasal again before the next wave hits you. So, getting used to this pattern, to this protocol, it's going to help you to stay calm in any type of situation. The first few times maybe you'll still have to get used to it, but after a while it'll just become like normal, and it's just something you're doing, and it's something that works. Not only that you're tricking your mind, because of course placebo works, but also physically there are just many things happening. The breath is connected with the heart rate and the mindset and everything. I'd say conclusion is that breathing is highly effective if it's done correctly, and I hope that everybody can start reflecting on their surfing and start using this somehow. Like, I don't know why you'd need it, but I'm sure that there's something that you could use breathing exercises for in the water. And sure, there will be something in life as well. So, yeah, that was it. Thank you. Thanks for listening. And I'll see you next time. Cheers. Hey, if you like this type of content, there's a lot more coming your way. Let us know what you want to hear us talk about next in the comments, or hit that subscribe button to just be notified about everything we post. Cheers.